Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review, and in this video I'm going to review Fucking Nothing by Niku Daruma. Niku Daruma is a very recent harsh noise and power electronics project from Pennsylvania, having the name from one of the most disturbing Japanese porn snuff movies of all time. My introduction to Niku Daruma was with a split they did with Corset a few months back, and I liked the really harsh and aggressive nature that Niku Daruma presented in their work, and then I listened to the album She Gets What She Wants, which in my opinion it's definitely one of the most intense, one of the most raw, one of the most disturbing, and one of the nastiest harsh noise albums you can find in recent years. They also have a set of unsettling and obscure live shows where it's really loud noises with microphone feedback and distortion, and the two girls just fighting each other, hitting and choking themselves. This really raw and DIY approach on harsh noise from Niku Daruma makes for a consistent and varied discography in a very short period of time, and also with all of their works being on Bandcamp for free. What we get with this brand new release from Niku Daruma, it's more of the same. There's not something with Fucking Nothing that is really all that different. We have a really short album there though, it's only 2 tracks and it's less than 30 minutes long. It's separated into the 2 tracks Fucking and Nothing, and both of them are really DIY and even more free improvised from possibly anything else they've done so far. This short album shows more of the girls just messing around with some really loud noises. With some of the other projects there was a bit of a more focus and something that was a bit more standard to their sound, but this one is just uncompromising raw noise. The track Fucking starts with a looped delay sound just repeating itself over and over, and you have some spoken word segments, and in some occasions you can have a bit of microphone feedback just getting passed around in the mix. This goes for about 3 minutes, and then you abruptly have just massive walls of noise, and it's where the album gets really loud and it gets really disturbing. Throughout the rest of the portion though, the track doesn't have something that feels as memorable or something that really manages to grab my attention, because it's something that I've heard before from Niku Daruma done better in lots of the occasions. The thing that I like the most about the track, other than the first part, is how it ends, where most of these walls of noise just disappear and you have just this really raw microphone feedback feel with some really loud high frequencies, which is definitely one of my favorite parts in the whole sound of Niku Daruma. How it has this really torturous, ear-piercing sounds which are not that usual in this album compared to the previous works. The track Nothing goes a bit more to the same. The first portion of the track is just various walls of noise that don't manage to really impress me. Once again, it's towards the end where it gets a bit more raw and it gets a bit more disturbing and more unsettling, and it has all of those parts with the loud high frequencies that manage to enhance the experience with how ear-piercing and just how menacing they are. In general though, this short project doesn't have the intensity and the aggressiveness from albums like She Gets What She Wants, which is not necessarily a bad thing for itself, and it also doesn't make the album Fucking Nothing as a work that is easier to approach. This is once again one of those albums that is not that much recommended for beginners of harsh noise music. The sound of Niku Daruma is mostly made for people who have some sort of experience with harsh noise music. It's one of the more underground and one of the more intense projects that you can find. This album didn't manage to impress me that much with its sounds. I thought in times it was a bit repetitive and it didn't bring something more intense or something that I haven't heard from their sound before. It's not up to par with their previous work She Gets What She Wants. It doesn't need to. For what it is, Fucking Nothing is a fairly decent attempt on harsh noise music. It's definitely not one of my favorite projects of this year, but it's a nice try and I'm looking forward to more in the future. I'm going to give this album a 6+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it, dislike it, why, and what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.